So for you to understand what I'm saying, let's take the example of our church. Look at it with gold, very magnificent. Some days when I don't have masses anywhere else, I come here in the night to celebrate private mass. When you enter here, you will not like it because very dark. But then in this darkness, you see a small light. That is the tabernacle light. So this tabernacle light is just like the indelible mark that the sacrament of baptism confers to all of us. That was our spiritual identity, that we belong to Christ, no matter what we do. But what happens is that if you continue turning on the first bulb, there will be light, but you may not be able to read. The second one, it doesn't go too far. But if you turn on all the lights or several of these bulbs, the church will be well illuminated. So what happens is that the light will go outside and people will know that here the lights are on. It is the same thing with our spiritual life. When you are dormant in your spirituality, nothing happens. You don't send out any light. You don't emit any light. You are just dormant. But when you begin to live the life of holiness, what happens is that in the spiritual realm, you begin to shine. And that light travels so far. And then you draw attention to yourself. Attention of the good and the bad. When you become holy, when you walk in the light of your holiness, when you begin to ameliorate your spiritual life, you see that you draw to yourself the grace of God. You draw to yourself the ministry of the angels. But then at the same time, you draw the attention of the evil spirits also. And that is why the temptations continue to grow. The temptation that we receive is proportional to the level of our spirituality. Let me take the example of Jesus. What many people don't know about Jesus and the temptations that he endured in the desert. He was living privately in his home in Nazareth. He was not a threat to any evil spirit. He was not performing exorcism. He was handling his personal spiritual life. But when it was time for public ministry, he raised the bar, the standard so high, so that he dominated anything that can stop him in his ministry. What did he do? He fasted for 40 days. Can you go and fast for 40 days? I don't want to talk about what fasting does to the body. I will treat it after. But what I'm trying to say is that Jesus fasted for 40 days. So he raised his spirituality to such a level that the type of light he was emitting was far beyond human level, such that no demonic power could approach him if not Lucifer himself. That's why he had to leave whatever he was doing. Because the light of Christ has already overshadowed any darkness in this world. The higher you go in spirituality, the more light you emit. Some non-Christian denominations, religions, some we call it vibration, spiritual vibration. Others we call it aura, spiritual aura. Others we call it chakra. Others we call it energy. Call it whatever you want. The holier you become, the more energy, spiritual energy you emit, the more spiritual vibration you emit, the more you grow in your chakra, the more you go in your spiritual aura. Here we are today as Christians. What happened 2,000 years ago? So when that light started shining in the spiritual realm, the devil said, no, this cannot stand. I need to go and stop this light. That was why he came to tempt Jesus. And what did he use to tempt Jesus? Not things that are so far. Jesus fasted from food. So simple things. He started with food, ordinary thing. Change this, let it become bread. Jesus fasted from human recognition. John said, behold the Lamb of God. But here is Jesus, far from humans. So the devil wanted to make him a celebrity all of a sudden. Jesus said, hold it there. And then the third one, Jesus was, let me use the word, I don't want to use the word spiritually useless at that moment. But within those 40 days, Jesus was not performing anything as using the power of God in him. So the devil wanted to make him also a spiritual celebrity. The devil tempted him with food, wanted to make him a social celebrity as we know them, and then wanted to make him a spiritual celebrity. Jesus said, in all these three aspects, Jesus said, stop it there. The higher you go in spirituality, the higher the temptation. The devil cannot tempt you beyond your capacity, beyond the level of your spirituality. God will not even permit him to do that. Because even as he is tempting you, the angels are there monitoring how the whole thing is going. It is not a play, but just that temptation helps us to get to another level of spirituality. Whenever you overcome temptation, you get to another level of spirituality. You get to another level of intimacy with God. You get to another level of friendship with God. Therefore, if you decide to live a holy life, get ready for temptations. And then when temptations comes your way, don't think that God has abandoned you. No. It is a manifestation of the fact that you are creating an impact in the spiritual realm. We need to understand this reality. The higher you go in spirituality, the higher the temptation. But if you don't want to work on your spirituality, you don't want to live a holy life, it is okay. But what happens is that you are already won over. The devil may not tempt you so much. Your life may be very, very smooth. People may be jealous of you because everything is going, but they are going because maybe you don't have temptations, because you are not a threat to the evil one. So you are already won over. So everything moves, smoothly for you. That's why I tell my people, whenever you see somebody progressing so much without anything, don't be jealous of that person. It can be that the person has overcome so many temptations and God has blessed that person. Don't be jealous of such person. It can also be that the person has refused to be in good relationship with God, and therefore he has declared forfeit already. He has already declared that he belongs to the other side, and then the devil will give him whatever he wants. Don't be jealous of that person also. Do you want the light that you emit to grow, or do you want it to diminish? It all depends on you. Do you want to grow in holiness, or you want to diminish in holiness? Now, let me talk about fasting.